First, the Supreme Court in a few minutes from now will pronounce its judgment on the issue of stray dog management, and that's going to be our top focus this hour. So the question is of stray dog management and public safety across the country. The verdict is expected any time now, with the Supreme Court likely to lay down important directions concerning the handling of the stray dog menace, public safety and also animal welfare measure. So remember, in January, the Supreme Court reserved its order on a batch of petitions seeking changes to its ongoing stray dog management case. Now, the bench also heard submissions from the council representing the NHAI on compliance with its November 7, 2025 directions, which had also ordered the removal of stray animals from national highways and the fencing of roads. So previously, the top court expressed concerns over state government's failure to comply with its directions to also strengthen stray dog sterilization on capacity, also remarking that they are all building castles in the air. Dipankar, my colleague, is with us, and what's expected in moments from now? What's happening right now in the top court? Dipankar, take us up to speed with what is expected in court today.
Well, yes, the court is expected to lay down certain guidelines, certain directions for the government as well as for the other agencies which are part of handling, which are in direct contact with handling the stray dog menace. And these guidelines are to be implemented throughout the nation. Remember, earlier when the court had directed certain guidelines regarding capturing of stray dogs, sterilization of stray dogs, and releasing them to other places, not the place where they were handled. So certain more guidelines are to be formulated, certain more guidelines are to be passed by the Supreme Court. In just moments, when the court will assemble, the judgment will be pronounced by the bench headed by Justice Vikram Nath and two other judges. And these guidelines will be implemented throughout the nation for the to handle the stray dog menace that is over there.
But there have been questions by the Supreme Court itself on the implementation of guidelines, and that is why the court has also been critical of how state governments have been, responding to the guidelines that have been issued when it comes to the implementation. We also have guests joining us on this broadcast. In moments from now, we'll have Kamna Pandey, who's an animal rights activist, who'll be joining us. But we have Aditya Pratap, who's a lawyer. Aditya, I want you to stay with us. Let's also put this story into context for our viewers, and let's explain in detail what has been happening over the last few months when it comes to the legal fight. Let's quickly explain to our viewers what was the SC's order on stray dogs. So the Supreme Court had said that society should be free from stray dogs. So it had taken a very clear position, and that immediate steps are needed to end the menace. That was the Supreme Court's position. Not doing this for us, it is for also public interest. So here the court quickly put focus on the larger public interest, and young kids at no cost should fall prey to rabies. So this is what the Supreme Court had said. No sentiments of any nature should be involved. So this is not a sentimental issue. This should be about larger interest of public safety. Will animal activists be able to bring back rabies victims? So yes, there was also a question that was asked that when it comes to the loss of lives, what will animal rights activists do then? Can they bring back those victims? Legal action against those who are resisting the relocation of dogs. This is what the Supreme Court had said. And also, this was the point that was made in the court. Let me go across to Aditya Pratap, who is with us. Aditya, you've been tracking this hearing, this case very closely. You've been listening to both sides, and this has been an emotive issue for animal rights activists, for dog lovers. We've been seeing the protests, but the court's stand has been strong. It has always put the focus on public interest, the larger interest of people, and has also put the focus on the management of the stray dog menace. What are your expectations from today's verdict? All right, Aditya, if you could also unmute yourself.
Yeah, yes, please. Yes, please. Well, as we can see, the Supreme Court judgment is yet to be passed. So certainly, I would not like to prejudge the issues, but then I would definitely like to say I'm sure that the Honorable Supreme Court, given its standing and its wisdom, will give a good, balanced, and decisive verdict today. At the very outset, when we have so many animal rights activists, let me tell you, from day one, I questioned the bona fides of these animal rights activists.
Okay.
I straightaway say, are these so-called animal rights activists, the 1970s Chipko movements and activists? Are these activists like the Bishnoi community? Not at all. These are self-centered people who, for either any vexatious or some malicious reason whatsoever, they take up the rights of stray dogs, the so-called rights of stray dogs, to the direct detriment. Because whenever you hear an animal rights activist speaking on TV, they do not in any way appear to have a balanced opinion. And animal rights activists, with regard to stray dogs, show absolute disregard to the suffering of the common man.
Okay, actually, Aditya, to respond to what you are saying about the other side or the viewpoint of animal rights activists, let's bring in Kamna Pandey. She's just joined us on this broadcast. Ms. Pandey, you know, this is a debate that has seen very, very divergent and very, very polarizing opinions. So right now, the focus is going to be on the Supreme Court. What are your expectations? And would you also like to respond to Mr. Aditya Pratap?
I'm sorry, I couldn't hear the entire version of whatever he was trying to put, but I just could catch the last few lines. Firstly, coming to the expectations, we all are hoping and expecting that the spirit of the Constitution is upheld, that the ethics and the Sanskriti of this nation, the civilization, is upheld, that all the scientific researches, the data, the facts, all of it that was presented before the court is considered. The reason behind the problem is considered, which was highlighted before the Honorable Court. The solution to the problem was highlighted before the court. That is also considered. So all in all, yes, we are hoping for a good judgment that is for humans, for animals, that treats the problem, goes to the root cause of it and finds a solution for it, which is pretty simple. But yes, all the other facts and data, the scientific studies that were presented, they will also be considered.
Go to the root cause, find the solution. But Ms. Pandey, right now I have to interject because we have some breaking news coming in from the court itself. The Supreme Court bench has assembled. The benches of Justice Vikram Nath and Sandeep Mehta and N.V. Anjara have assembled. And in the latest, the Supreme Court is expressing concern over the rise in the population of stray dogs. And this is a breaking news broadcast, and we'll be constantly giving you updates as our reporters have been bringing them to us from the top court. Let's see if we can also get Dipankar, who's tracking the details. Dipankar, in the latest, the Supreme Court currently is expressing concern over the rise in population of stray dogs. What else are you tracking?
Well, yes, the concern over rise in population of stray dog has been expressed by the three judges bench headed by Justice Vikram Nath. Remember, this concern had also been expressed by the bench while this case was being heard, while all the applications and the petition was being heard, that there is a high number of population of stray dogs and that population keeps on increasing. And for that matter, the sterilization drive was initiated. The court had directed for sterilization of the stray dogs, that they should be captured and sterilized and then released at a place where not from where they are picked, but a separate place. The court has also gone on to tell us that they have dealt with the issues of accountability and tortious liability in the context of the stray dog management. So that is also one observation that the court has very clearly said, that they have dealt with the tortious liability, the liability that is associated when a stray dog bites a person. That has been dealt with in the judgment that is currently being passed by the Supreme Court judges. They have also gone on to say that they have dismissed the petitions, all the applications that are
so the Supreme Court, right, in the latest breaking news that we have for our viewers, the Supreme Court viewers, and this is the latest coming in from the court, the Supreme Court is dismissing applications seeking modifications of the directions that stray dogs be picked up from public places like hospitals, bus stands, schools, etc., and they must not be released to the same place after vaccination and sterilization. applications. Dipankar, if you could explain to us what this means. So the Supreme Court right now is dismissing these applications that are seeking modifications of the directions that stray dogs be picked up from public places and must not be released to the same place after vaccination or sterilization. And the court has also said in the latest that we have also dealt with the issue of accountability and liability in the context of street dog management. So explain the implications to to the viewers who are watching this broadcast.
Well, remember the Supreme Court had earlier also very categorically directed that from where the stray dogs are to be...
I really apologize for interjecting, but this is a big observation that's coming in. The Supreme Court right now is saying, and let's put our focus on what the court has said, that the stray dog menace has touched alarming proportions. This is what is coming in from the court right now. This is a breaking news broadcast, viewers, and we are getting you minute-by-minute updates from the hearing. The Supreme Court right now has said that the stray dog menace has touched alarming proportions, and the Supreme Court is also saying that the situation in states is absolutely alarming. So Supreme Court once again raising questions on the way the stray dog menace has been handled, has been saying that this has reached alarming proportions, and the court has also once again said that we have dismissed the application challenging the standard operating procedure issued by the AWBI. So once again, Dipankar, break down the implications of what the Supreme Court is saying. The Supreme Court once again is saying that the menace has reached alarming proportions. What is happening, the situation in states is also alarming. We are dismissing applications challenging the standard operating procedure that has been issued by the AWBI.
Well, yes, this concern has already been expressed during the hearing, and now the court is reiterating itself, showing as to how concerned the Supreme Court is with this rise in the stray dog menace, with this rise in the attacks that have been happening on people by the stray dogs. So this menace, the court has very categorically gone on to say that it has touched alarming proportions, and that is why these guidelines are being prepared. The court has gone on to dismiss the applications that were challenging the guidelines, the directions that were issued by Animal Welfare Board. So that those applications have been dismissed.
And the application from the top court, Dipankar, another big update coming in. The court has also said we have dealt with compliance by states and union territories with this court's direction. And the court is now expressing concern over the way the directions have been handled by states. There has been an absence of sustained, systemic and incremental efforts on part of the states and union territories. So yes, the Supreme Court once again pulling up the states for not complying with the directives that were issued by the top court. The court is talking about how there has been an absence of sustained, systemic and incremental efforts on part of the states and the union territories to expand and fortify the requisite infrastructure in proportion to steadily increasing population of stray dogs. The court also is talking about numbers. There have been 31 dog bites in airport premises this year. So yes, the court is now, Dipankar, pulling up the state government, and despite orders being passed by the court on how to go about, how to manage the entire issue of stray dog menace, the court is expressing concern over the way there has been lack of sustained, systematic and incremental efforts on the part of states and union territories.
Well, yes, the court has been reprimanding the state and union territories on the fact that there has not been any kind of systematic effort by the state and union territories in order to manage the increase in the population of the stray dogs and this entire stray dog menace. Remember, there were directions that there should be places, there should be shelter houses, but there has not been any kind of systematic effort to increase the number of those shelter houses, because of which the court has now gone on to reprimand the state and union territories, and the court has gone on to clearly stating facts, clearly stating numbers, pointing out that there has been 31 bites in the airport premises this year. And remember, the court has earlier also gone on to say that this menace, the stray dog menace, has reached alarming proportions.
Right.
So this shows that the court is taking this matter very seriously and is going to issue directions and is going to pull up the agencies, the state government, the union territories, which are failing in implementing those guidelines. So we are currently waiting for the guidelines which the court will set up. But
and what
we are seeing that
guidelines be like now that the Supreme Court is pulling up authorities, especially state government governments, union territories, and also how there's not been sustained efforts. They've not been consistent efforts in tackling the entire issue. The latest breaking news update coming in from the court, and I'd request our guests to stay on. This is a breaking news broadcast. We're constantly giving you updates from the court. Priyanka is with us. In the latest, the court has said there have been serious deficiencies seen in implementation of animal birth control rules, and the court in the latest has also remarked that the situation has come for an immediate intervention by the court. But the big observation is the numbers that has been cited by the Supreme Court, by the judges, who are saying that in the airport premises itself there have been 31 dog bite cases, and also that the situation has touched alarming proportions. Priyank, what is the latest that you're tracking?
Yes, Sati, Sagadika, the court has also made one more important observation, that the serious discrepancies have been there in the animal birth right control. That was a key argument on the basis of which the animal right activists had moved to the court, that if you say that these dogs who are the stray dogs and who are moved to the shelter home, and they should not be released ever, which was in the initial first order, then Sati, that is a violation of the animal birth right law, which has been decided by the court itself. Following to which the court has said that although the law is there...
Interjecting you once again, another big observation coming in from the court, and this is extremely serious because the Supreme Court now and the judges are saying that this court is constrained to observe that pronounced inaction on effective implementation of ABC framework has resulted in the aggravation of the problem. So the Supreme Court here is blaming the fact that there has been inaction on implementation of ABC framework, and that has resulted in the aggravation of a problem that was already persisting, and that stray dog bites continue to occur despite rules being set, despite directions being given. The court also says that reports have revealed that the problem has assumed deeply disturbing proportions. Just look at the terms that have been used by the judges. Alarming proportions, deeply disturbing proportions. And here there is an instance that the court is highlighting. It is talking about Sri Ganganagar in Rajasthan, where alone there have been more than 1,000 dog bite cases that were reported in 1 month. So this is the data that has been cited by the judges. Young children have suffered grievous injuries, including mauling of their faces, according to many reports. Then they've also said that Tamil Nadu itself has recorded 2 lakh odd cases in the first 4 months of the year. So data is being cited. The court has also spoken about international travelers have also fallen victim. So yes, it's also talking about how there was a sense of embarrassment that the country had to face because international travelers had also fallen victim, and children are the worst affected by dog bites. Once again, the court putting the focus on safety, public interest, public safety. The court once again saying that we have asked for the implementation of rules, for the implementation of frameworks, and that hasn't happened, because of which the problem has reached alarming, deeply disturbing and alarming proportions, and that the children are worst affected by dog bites. Right to dignity also includes the right to move freely. Big observation coming in from the top court. Dipankar, right to dignity also includes the right to move freely. Very, very strong observations by judges in the case.
Well, yes, this is a very strong observation by the Supreme Court. Remember, Supreme Court is the court, the constitutional court, which protects the fundamental rights that is awarded to the people. And over here, the court going on to say that right to dignity also includes right to move freely is a very, very interesting observation, and a very serious observation for the states and the union territories and all the governments around regarding the implementation of the Animal Welfare Board guidelines, the animal birth control rules. All this is being considered by the Supreme Court, and very categorical, very scathing observations that are being made by the Supreme Court in this regard, where the court has also gone on to say that the state UTs improve infrastructure for dealing with dog bites. The court has put in now guidelines where it has gone on to say that one fully functional ABC center in each district and effective implementation must be ensured to carry out the orders in letter and spirit. The court has gone on to say that these guidelines which are being put, that is that one fully functional ABC center in each and every district and effective implementation should be ensured. These guidelines should be put into play, should be followed in letter as well as in spirit. spirit. This is what the guidelines are being framed by the Supreme Court. But
once again, more updates coming in from the top court, for which I have to stop you there, Dipankar. In the latest, the court has said states and union territories must improve infrastructure for dealing with dog bites. There should be one fully functional ABC center in each district, and there should be effective implementation that has to be ensured. And you must carry out our orders in letter and spirit. So yes, the onus the Supreme Court right now is placing on states and on also governments. Going across to our guests who are with us, Kamna Pandey, the court has spoken about how the problem has reached alarming proportions. The court is also putting the onus on authorities, asking you should follow our directions, our guidelines in letter and spirit, and that does not happen. That remains to be one of the biggest challenges.
Absolutely. I'd like to point out something that is widely misunderstood. Every word that the court has said, we all agree with it. We have been fighting and pointing out the same points, that the population is rising, the surgeries need to be done, sterilization program needs to be in place, governments need to, rise up and wake up to the alarming proportions of the population, the cruelty and everything. So I'm glad that the court has taken cognizance of it. There is no discrepancy between the two parties.
All right, Kamna, I have to interject once again because this is a breaking news broadcast and we're getting minute-by-minute updates from the court for our viewers. In the latest, the court has also said, and this is extremely serious, any non-compliance to the directions of this court shall be viewed seriously. So the Supreme Court there reading out the Riot Act and also saying that contempt proceedings, disciplinary proceedings, and also liability shall be initiated against states for non-compliance. So here, the court has made it very, very clear that whatever guidelines that the Supreme Court is issuing on the management of the stray dog issue should be followed in letter and spirit, and any non-compliance of the directions of the court shall be viewed very seriously, and there should be contempt proceedings, disciplinary proceedings shall be initiated against states for non-compliance. So the court has also said that the harm is not just statistical, it is unfathomable. Notwithstanding the directions issued on the 22nd of August and the 7th and on the 7th of November, the material placed on record that the directions have been percolated to ground level. So here the onus is on the state governments, the court taking very, very serious view, calling this a problem that has reached alarming and disturbing levels, and has also said that follow our orders in letter and in spirit. We'll be back as the court is giving out guidelines and is also setting strong terms when it comes to the compliance of the orders. Stay with us, both Aditya Pratap and Kamna Pandey, and also our reporters who are breaking down the information. Taking a short break, we'll be back with more news and updates.